Hey Renee, hey Monica. This is Manny, your favorite cousin from Minnesota. I'm going to spend the next few minutes on this YouTube video walking you through the assembly process and maintenance and everything there you need to know about this chair. I'm going to reference Monica's chair while it's intact. Renee, obviously, yours is taken apart. Um, but anyway, so this is what I do with all my customers. In fact, every time I ship a chair out, I do a personalized video and walk through the steps. And since every single chair is personalized, there's always something to talk about. But so here it is. First and foremost, thank you so much for the opportunity to build this chair for you guys. Thanks for considering me. A lot of fun, man. I've had lots of people come over and they look at this chair and they're like, wow, this is unique. And without a doubt, this is probably one of my favorite chairs. I always get asked, what is my favorite chair that I've ever made? And it's always the one that I've never made. So this is unlike something I've never done before. So thanks again, Monica. It was fun to work with you on that one. Renee, yours is badass too. I've done lots of Texas chairs, but it's actually the first time I ever put a Texas engraved in a square back. So that's kind of cool and unique. All right, so first let's talk about the engraving. Engraving is laser engraved, and when you look at it on pictures, videos, it never does justice of, it looks like a decal or sticker painted on, but that's not the case. So engraving, when you see it up close, it's engraved about a 16th of an inch. And for me, it's always fun to fill it with a paint because it adds extra color and adds character to the chair and the space. So obviously I have your established June 2000 as you requested, your anniversary when you guys got married. That's awesome. And my personal logo, it's tough to see in the video, but I always put who I'm making it for and the year I made it for on both chairs. Um, Monica, yours, again, the scripting is engraved, color filled with an acrylic paint. You can't see it very well in the video, but there's a lot of detail in the frame itself, which is super cool, right? And that's a real people, man. So for aesthetics, it's backwards, right? It actually does work, and I'll show you that here in a minute when I get to the back of the chair. But so it's paint with an acrylic paint, and a little bit later I'll text you a color of the periwinkle that I use. Here it's called purple grapes. We came close. I mean, we looked online and color matched it, and this is what we came up with. But this is going to be important for you to have the code. So if you have like I got this at Menards, but I think with the color whatever on here, it you'll be able to replace it. And the rest of the paint, the red, the greens, the blues, uh, and all of these are acrylic paint. So the entire chair, all of this is made out of redwood cedar. And the good thing about cedar is that it never rots, retains water. So you can leave it outside, man. It's perfectly fine. Um, maybe over a year, depending on how much sun it gets, it's going to beat up on the stain and the paint. But no worries. You could just use light sandpaper, like 220 grit, do a light sanding on it, and then just color fill it again, using the acrylic paint. So after you use acrylic paint, right? I just use like a really fine paintbrush, fill it in, and then let it dry, and then you can technically go over the paint with the stain, with the cherry stain. It's not going to hurt it. So the cherry stain is your typical cherry stain that you get at a hardware store. Just cake it on. You'll bring this chair right back to life after a year if it fades. The thing with stain over acrylic paint, just wipe it on and then just wipe it off with the rag, right? It leaves it a little bit shiny, but that's cool, but it protects it even more, all right? So maybe like once a year do that. And that goes along with this one, right? The Central Perks. In fact, I actually filled this in with a just traditional brown and then the white. And then this I left natural, but it's filled with stain. And then I'll be there for you also with acrylic paint. So that's the paint and the stain that I used. All right, pretty straightforward. The cool thing about um, red cedar that I use on all my chairs is that it repels water. It'll never rust, and it could sit in the hot sun all day, and it's never hot to the touch. You can sit in it, and it will not be hot. So that's one cool thing about cedar. So here we go. I'm going to walk you through the assembly process, and I promise it's super, super easy. The first step that you're going to get is, well, first, when I package these, I'm going to put I think the two backs into one box, right? And then the seats for each chair will be in two separate boxes. So just keep them separated, even though it's all the same pieces. But again, I want you to build the chair the way I took it apart, right? And not mix and match. First step that you're going to do is your seat, right? Your seat sits on a 2x6, right and left. So as I reference the chair, when you're building looking at the chair right to left, everything underneath is going to be labeled underneath. So just look for the markings and match them up. Here, I'll get a side profile here. So starting with the seats, the base, right? Starting with your engraved front board, 1 through 7. Number 7 is going to end obviously here. Just butt them up against each other. Number 7, and then your spacer. It's a 2x6 spacer that goes across. On purpose, there's going to be a 1-inch gap because the tail of the back is going to slip right in. And then you got your 2 torque bit screws on each side, right and left. You can't see it in the video, but I've marked in pencil where this should align, right? So just line them up to these holes, screw these in super deep, and then in your kit there's going to be some sawdust and wood plug, so all the way deep, and then fill it with sawdust and the wood plug. Wood plugs are already stained, so just pound those in there with the rubber mallet or something. Yeah, so this one is kind of important. When you get to the number 7, you want to make sure that it's right on the lines, because if you're in too much, then you're not going to be able to put in the tail in. It's going to be too tight. If it's too far back, then it's sort of loose, even though this gets screws to the back. But the point is, keep it aligned. Try to use the same holes on everything when you're putting this together. Seat, 1 through 7, right, left. Next is your front legs by 2 lag bolts. Lag bolts always go from the outside in. Front legs are on the outside, right? And these have these extra arm supports on each side, right and left. Back legs, I'll actually leave this in. When it's apart, it just slide it up. Back legs are a little bit different because they have the slant. And then this board right here, this is the back support of the back. This is 21 inches. It's the only board that's the smallest. Everything else, your seats are 24 inches wide. This is going to be 21 inches. Look for the right left marking, match them up. You're not going to see it in this video, but there's going to be a pencil mark. And the reason I put that in there, and I want you to use the same holes, is because to be mindful not to go all the way to the top, because if you do, then this corner of this board is going to bump up the arm and not keep it level, right? Pretty easy. And then the next step after that is your arms, right? Your back goes on last, but your arms go on. There's going to be 1 screw in the back, 2 in the front. Again, I'll have it labeled right to left, but you can't go wrong. Now, here's the deal. With the 2 front screws, if you like this look where you keep the screw flush, that's cool. I personally like it, but if you don't, sink it all the way, use the sawdust after that, and then the wood plug after that, right? Everything on this, the hardware, so everything is a 2-inch screw. It's a 25, it's called a T25 torque bit. I'll give you my drill bit. I'll put it in the kit. So it's countersunk, so all you got to do is screw each one in, right? Now in theory, you can mix them up because it's the same, but because if I put it together, I want you to use the same holes. Just keep them all the same, okay? I think I already said that. And then one word of caution, when you're screwing these in, right, some drills are really fast, right? So just be really careful. Go slow when you get to almost to the flush, and then just like go slow when you countersink it. Because the thing you want to avoid is going really fast and then you bury it really, really deep and then backing it out. Then you stand the chance of chipping it as you're backing it out. So just kind of be careful, go slow to the point where you're keeping them flush, but they should all are countersunk and then just sit flush to the top of the board on everything that you do, with the exception of these, unless you want to go super, super deep, right? Very, very easy. So you got your front seat slats, your seat, front legs, back legs, your arms, right and left. And then the last thing that goes on is your back. Your back is all one piece, just slips right in there, center it. There's going to be 3 screws in the back on each right and left. And then there's also going to be one on the tail underneath to keep it from shifting as you sit in underneath. And that's really easy and basic to put it together, right? I promise it's not that hard. And then lag bolts, outside in, front legs go on the outside, back legs will go on the inside. You use a 9/16 socket, right? 9/16 socket. They'll make your life easy. It goes lag bolt, washer, lock nut, nut, right? That's how you do it. Here's the peephole that sticks out. And I think I may have said this already, but in theory, this is technically backwards, right? So if you look at it this way, that's the right way, but aesthetically, it looks much better with the glass sticking out. So there you go. I've sat in this chair lots of times and it doesn't like poke your back or anything, I promise. But this is the makeup and the walkthrough assembly of the chair. Pretty easy. I've said this already, but it's staying maybe a year. It'll last, I promise. But if you need to restain it, again, the cherry wood and then just your traditional acrylic paints. Your hardware is going to have all of these torque bit screws. These are coated deck screws, right? That's the finest you can get. They won't rust or fade or anything like that. That's kind of cool. That's it. That's how you put this chair together. Super easy. I put a couple business cards. Please blast my name. There's your name, Rene. Badass. Where you got this chair, man. I would love to get more business, and you'll get the experience too when you open it up, how it's shipped. Everything is cellophane wrapped inside to keep it from slipping inside the box. I insure this when I ship it, especially the backs. The wood is wood. Nothing's gonna happen there. But if there's any issues down the road, fading, cracking, you let me know, man, and I'll send you another replacement board, okay? But you definitely, the backs, because they're laser engraved, you do need to take a little bit more care. Oh, and one more important thing about the backs, because I'm using laser engraving on these, you may want to consider using a polyurethane. I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture of it later. But all it does, it puts like a coating on it, right? It isn't recommended. You don't have to, but it adds more protection over the wood because, again, sun beats up on paint and stain over time, right? But the shitty thing about polyurethaning, if you use it, it's going to fade eventually, and then you got to start over again and sand it down. You can leave it natural like that, but this probably takes a little bit more maintenance. The polyurethane just adds extra. It's up to you. And the other thing about polyurethane, it leaves a really shiny. So some people just don't like it. But again, there you go. I've been rambling, but thank you so much. I could have put a couple business cards in each of your bags. So tell the whole world where you got this. Please send me a picture when it's finally put together and at your house. Rene, I know you're building and you got a special spot for these, man. So I want to see it when it's all done, man. And I love this set. I think it complements well with the matching hearts, and I'll be there for you. And I love doing this stuff and knowing that it's special and it's for you guys. I love you guys so much. Again, I want to say thanks for the extra time. I mean, I normally don't take this long to build a chair and send it off. But my mom came into town. She stayed for 3 weeks, so I had to entertain her, and it was just kind of tough. And then I shared with Rene, but my daughter's mom passed away unexpectedly last week. And so just kind of supporting her, and that kept me away from work and all that stuff. But I finally feel like my life is back, and I'm excited for you to get these chairs. So I'll blast this on YouTube, send it to you, and let me know if you have any questions putting this together. I think the pictures alone will you get the reference of how it's put together, maintenance or stepwise, I guess. But let me know, man, and share with the world. I'd love to get more business. So love you guys. Say hi to Diego, and you guys be good. I will talk to you soon. Bye.